How's it? Hang loose. Welcome to Mongoose Max Hawaii, the channel. Hello. Yeah, it's Saturday. We don't have the paper today, and give a little thought. Vlogging news is the usual style, but I thought, every Thanksgiving. There's specials on the JFK assassination. So, I've been to Texas. I've been to the 6th floor museum, the book depository. Been there. And I've listened to a lot of people in Texas and all this kind of stuff, and I've seen a lot of these things. And
Come outside.
And the ghost box is going out, so I just gotta say, I'm grieved and saddened to inform you that at 1 p.m., President John Fitzgerald Kennedy is dead. Again. That's right. We're gonna look at JFK's assassination and who done it? Who did it? Who was the dude who did it? Right? Now, let's just say this is 60 years ago. So, I have all due respect, Boy Scouts honor for JFK. He's one of my favorite presidents. As a matter of fact, he would be my favorite president, but Abraham Lincoln definitely is more significant than he's cooler too. But JFK is, up there. I do respect him, his memory, and the work he has done, and he would have done good work if he had not been killed. Now, the other thing I want to acknowledge is, it was the murder of a person in public, and it was horrible, and just the impression it made on people, and you might have seen it when he was alive, but you might have been alive when he was assassinated, and I remember. I shouldn't be. I don't remember. I was 2 years old, and I was pissing my pants like I do nowadays. So I don't know. So here we go. Who Shot JR? Which was inspired by Who Shot JFK. JFK is also Camelot. His administration, Camelot. He was codenamed Lancelot or Lancer, basically. Camelot, Lancer, King Arthur, Excalibur. Who shot JR? Who shot first? Got Star Wars going on already.
It's impossible.
Hans shot first. So here we go. Was there a single shooter, or was there a conspiracy theory? Did Lee Harvey Oswald shoot JFK? Was there a conspiracy theory to murder JFK? Did Lee Harvey Oswald shoot him? Kill him? Yes. He was the shooter. Was there conspiracy theories to kill him? Yes. Both of these things are true. This is 60 years ago. So, if you're a fan of JFK, what? Anne? If you're a fan of JFK, and I'm not going to show you the Zapruder film or anything like that, but, and you're thinking, God, this is like glibly talking about this guy's, and people saw that. Just take note, if you're a fan of JFK, that he didn't feel much pain at all. I don't think he felt anything at all, pretty much. Okay, so bullet number one, I think, got him in the throat, or is it bullet number two? I think it was bullet number two, or bullet number one missed, and one of them missed. And then 1 and 2. One of them missed, and one of them got him through the throat from behind. So boom, and out the throat. There was actually a little hole there that later they tracheotomied, and it made it a little bit bigger. So if you see autopsy stuff, if you look at that, but it went in and out of his throat, like right where you tie the knot of a tie. Farther, and he kind of went like this, and his hands would go up like this, in the Zapruder film. And somebody heard him saying, "I think I'm hit." Actually heard him say something, "I think I'm hit," or it could have been somebody else, but "I think I'm hit." And he's a little bit hunched over like this, and then the fatal shot. Now, in the fatal shot thing, I just want to say he didn't feel a damn thing. It's like getting knocked out. I'm sure of it. It's like, boop, lights out. It's like getting hit with a baseball bat. You're just lights out. So he didn't feel pretty much nothing. So just as a consolation for JFK fan. I'm a JFK fan. So it was like, even though everybody else is like, that is like just so gruesome. Now that aside, there's only one other more gross thing I'm going to talk about, and I'll get to it and I'll warn you later. But I want to talk about the theories, these little theories that come up, the conspiracy theories or the alternate theory. And I want to introduce you to two, at least, horrible motive people, bad actors. And I'm not talking bad acting. I'm talking bad morals, badly evil people. There's two that have a streak of evil I want to talk about. Yeah, and I'm not talking about Oswald. He was a cuckoo. He was just a cuckoo. So, to qualify, I've been to the 6th floor museum up on the book depository building in Dallas off Dealey Plaza, and there's the building still there. On that 6th floor, it's a museum, and I warn you, it's very expensive. Back when I went to it. And there's two big things I took out of that museum, and I'm not going to tell you what they are because I'm not giving them back. No, two takeaways from that museum. One is that when he was killed, JFK, the mourning, the people who were sad and grieving were worldwide. It wasn't just the U.S. going, "Oh, we lost our president, our cool little JFK, beloved knight in shining armor, Lancer. We lost Lancelot." No, it wasn't just that. It was worldwide. He was really beloved worldwide. I mean, the whole world went into mourning instantly. It was that much. Two is that there is they kind of show you x-rays up there, and then there's the little spot where the shooter nest and all that little rooster nest there. There was the x-rays, and there's clear in the x-ray of JFK's head, there's a hole, a circular hole right in the back of his head. And when I left the JFK 6th floor museum,
What do you want?
I want likes and subscribes. What I took away from that was that not that so much Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone gunman, which I kind of thought, yeah, he was the gunman. But for sure he fired the fatal shot. So the bullet that hit Kennedy in the head was from Lee Harvey Oswald. In my book, I'll just say, this is what I'm putting my 50 cents on when it comes to, if I was to bet on the different theories. Now, I know that's going to be contradicted by Oliver Stone's movie, Back into the Side, Back into the Side. Okay, over and over again, Back into the Side. Look at this root of him, Back into the Side. Okay, so we're going to have to use Bucky here to demonstrate. Bucky, we got something going on here. We need your assistance. Wait a minute, you're behind us. We're gonna have to get behind. Okay. Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
It's locked.
Where's the off button? Oh, we just have to wait that out. Okay. We're gonna have to do Bucky. Okay, Bucky, we're gonna need your help here. Thank you. Is it alright? It's alright. Alright. So
I remember you.
I remember you too. So you're looking at in the X-ray, there's a hole, like, you know, kind of like back here. Pop, 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 pop. There's definitely, and it's at least a part because it broke the skull. So there's like a semicircular. There's a hole in the back of his head, like, you know, like from behind. That was the fatal shot. Entrance wound. Now, the exit wound was over here. So, enter here. I'm trying to get this, like, I'm trying to be, like, forensic here a little bit. Enter. Enter. And it would, like, be, like, enter, exit, like this. Like, enter, exit. Easy, right? This is tougher than I thought. So, enter,
It's
and
a knot.
plus,
Don't bleed.
oh, he catches, oh, I'm hurting the throat. So he leans over a little bit, and then there's one from behind that gets him, like you thus. So enter. Now, an entrance wound from a bullet like a rifle is going to be like, take a sharpened pencil and poke an egg. Here's an egg, raw egg. Poke a sharpened pencil into the egg. It's going to make a hole right in there. It's going to make the little hole. That's entrance. Now the exit, since it's a curve this way and the thing tumbles inside, it's going to break. So there's a thing that breaks over here. It breaks off. And plus, there's something else, which I don't think they really calculate. Now, when the bullet leaves a rifle, there's a column of pressurized air pushing the bullet out of the rifle. So the bullet goes in, but there's pressurized air behind it. It's like, there's a force. And plus the sheer momentum of the rifle bullet. There's like a lot of pressure going in and down onto that little hole. So it's building up pressure inside. So when the thing break off, right, on the exit side, it breaks. And it goes, you know, the pressure breaks because there's pressure from the inside. So when it cracks the other side, it blows like an explosion. Boosh. And that explosion, boosh, makes his head go back. So back to the left is this part of his forehead, right over above the right eye, breaking off and exploding outward, pushing back and to the left. Yeah, take that, Oliver Stone. It is totally comprehensible. And, ooh, there's a secret message. It was a lone gunman. Secret message. Bucky, I didn't know he had secrets. He has secrets. He's thinking of them. So the thing is, it's that. It's totally conceivable that one shot explosion back. It explains the Zapruder. I mean,
You won't understand.
I won't understand. I will understand. And there's more. Unfortunately, I have to look in my notes. But yeah. Now, was there a gunman in the grassy knoll? Could be. I mean, they have theory. They have a witness, and we'll get to this witness. I mean, was that the only shot? I don't know. Well, let's get to the witness now. Let's witness. Calling Sam Holland. I gotta look at my secret. Who shot JFR? I got these. Who shot JFR notes? Made them yesterday. Sam Holland was a railroad worker. Now, the railroad worker was sitting there spotting stuff on the railroad. They have a railroad tracks in Dealey Plaza. There's an overpass, and there's a rail track on the overpass. And the overpass, if you're standing on the overpass, you're looking like down the street where the presidential motorcade would be coming up through Dealey Plaza, past the book depository. It's going up through that little, past the grassy knoll. He's looking over upon that, looking down on it. And he and his friends, which are spotters.
I remember you.
Okay. Ghost boxes, you're okay. So he's spotting railroad stuff. So he's a spotter. So he's, observer. And him and his other workers were looking, and off by the grassy knoll, where there's a wooden fence, well, what they call the grassy knoll now, there's a wooden fence. And when shots happened, they looked over and they saw a puff of smoke off to the fence, just above the fence. There's a puff of smoke and a shot from the grassy knoll area. And Sam Holland and his work buddies went down to behind the fence of the grassy knoll, which is amazing because it's just like you walk down the railroad tracks of the overpass, and then you just hop a little barrier, and you're behind that wooden fence. There's an easy access and escape. There's lots and lots of cars because there's a presidential motorcade. And they looked around, and it was really muddy, and he said he saw muddy footprints on top of people's cars. So the shooter might have stepped up onto a car as well. But he said, and he saw a puff of smoke, and he heard a shot from behind that wooden fence, Sam Holland, and he swears by it, and gave report to the Warren Commission. Now, is that the shot that killed JFK? Is that the back to the left? It could have been, maybe simultaneously, or maybe I'd say maybe he missed. But the shot that hit him from the back killed him. The shot from the grassy knoll, is a high probability that there was another shooter. So, more than 3 people makes a conspiracy. 3 people conspiring, making a plan. So, yeah, there was a conspiracy. But there's more reason that
You can't understand.
that there could have been extra shooters. And it was a turkey shoot, just in time for Thanksgiving. Actually, 60 years ago, JFK was assassinated, and it was on the 22nd of November. And then the 28th of November that year was Thanksgiving, and LBJ was sworn into office. Only 6 days. And 100 years ago, 1863, Abraham Lincoln made Thanksgiving an official national holiday. Weird coincidence? Yes, that's a coincidence. But interesting coincidence. But LBJ, let's talk a little bit about LBJ. Now, he's one of these guys that was a Texan, and he rose to power in Texas. When I'm talking rise to power, he wanted to be vice president on the JFK ticket, and he kind of pretty much almost like forced his way into that. And this guy was freaking ruthless. Now, there's a book called, I thought it was called A Texan Writes About a Texan, but the book is called A Texan Looks at Lyndon. This is a book that was written by a man, he wanted to be sort of anonymous, but his name is J. Evetts Haley. J. Evetts Haley wrote this book, A Texan Looks at Lyndon. And
You can't understand.
I'm going to turn you off. I read this book, and the impression I get from this book is LBJ was an evil mofo. This guy's like a mobster. I mean, he would shoot you in your driveway when you go out to get your mail. I mean, this guy was bad. He was ruthless.
Here's it.
You can find this book, read it if you want to check it out. This book was on the bookshelves when it came out. It was on the bookshelves in Texas, and it was going to go everywhere. And it was on the bookshelves for only 4 weeks, and it was taken off the bookshelves. Like it was, actively suppressed, censored, canceled, if you will. It was taken off the bookshelves. And you can get copies of this book on Amazon or whatever, used eBay, whatever. It's still out there. You can read that book. And it portrays LBJ in a very bad light. Like, this guy was frickin' ruthless. Now, did this guy have anything to do as far as motives with killing JFK? Well, he was vice president, and if he died, he'd be president. JFK was part of the war hawks. Let's do war, 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 war. Eisenhower had just said, watch out for the industrial military complex when he left office just previously. And we had put people, CIA plus other operatives in South Vietnam for the very first time because North Vietnam was the commies. Okay, you're going. Off with the ghost box. Those damn commies in North Vietnam. You know, North Vietnam commies connected to Red China. And South Vietnam had these Democrat French, and they went in there to sort of save South Vietnam from falling. And Kennedy had put some CIA initially. They went in there and looked around, and then other people, and that's the beginning of the Vietnam War. And then Kennedy was going, you know, this is kind of a mistake. We're going to take our people out of South Vietnam. So he did start to sort of withdraw those people. Now, back in that day, right after Cold War, it was get those commies, get them better dead than red, all this with the war hawks, which was like the CIA and LBJ. It was all part of that industrial military complex. So Kennedy was pulling every these things out of there, and they like, we want to go in there and do the war. So that's one thing that would have been a motive. Another thing is, you know, he's vice president, huh? A motive. LBJ. Oh, okay. Another person I want to introduce you to as far as bad actor, evil motive. And I hope this is going to be kind of like me just saying this stuff. And I did pick up some research, right? And did read a couple books, but, you know, I'm just saying this is what I would say. LBJ. Oh, God. I'm just flabbergasted. You know, he was back in there and he's president and everything. And as soon as he was president, he was unsure because there was Jacqueline with blood on her and everything and like this. And as soon as he was in the White House, he's like, everybody move out. I'm moving my stuff in. And LBJ's like, he yelled at somebody. He got up. He's already upset. He's like, where's my hat? Because LBJ was a Texan. And he was going to run on the ticket as a Texan. This is in the... Anyway. LBJ. Well, here's another bad actor as far as evil motives. Now, this one, LBJ mobster. This guy is more like, I don't know, Satan. This guy was like so bad. It was incredible. Okay, now we all know Lee Harvey Oswald was known to have CIA connections. Well, the CIA used him. Lee Harvey Oswald defected to Russia. And they're like going, who are you? Go away. And they booted him out. They're like, we don't want you. You're crazy. And he was rejected, Oswald. And he comes back to Texas, the USA. And he's, I'll prove him wrong. And then in Cuba, in Havana, he tries to go to Havana because there's Castro, and he's trying to be overthrown by the CIA, and there's a Bay of Pigs and all that. So there's this revolution possible to happen in Cuba, a revolution, and Lee Harvey Oswald wanted to be a part of it because it was still Soviet Union. And he went to Havana and they rejected him again. So Lee Harvey Oswald comes back, rejected, with this attitude of, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'll kill the president to show them I mean business. So Lee Harvey Oswald had that attitude, and he had CIA connections, because the CIA is like, well, you're going there and you're coming back, and they're kind of in contact with him. Like, what did you learn? And yeah, so there's a connection. And he was trying to prove himself. He might have been operating on his own, but there was that CIA connection. Now, with the CIA, here's something interesting. The CIA didn't exist until after World War II. It was the Office of Strategic Services, the OSS. The Office of Strategic Services was this little kind of group that during World War II collected information. It was kind of spy versus spy, and they did collect a lot of information, and there was a group of people doing it. Well, one of them was this guy named Allen Dulles, who had a brother, and they were both in business. And Allen Dulles' brother was in New York, and Allen Dulles was in the service in World War II. He was in Germany area. He's in that area when all that stuff was going down. You're talking the nasty Nazis and all that, and the Holocaust, which did happen. And so there's all that going on. And Allen Dulles is a spy in World War II, the OSS. Now, Allen Dulles wasn't very good at being a spy. It's by the account of every other people that were sleuths or spooks or spies, this guy was just bad at it, horribly bad. I mean, worse than Inspector Clouseau bad. But he kept on going and doing it, but he came across some interesting stuff, and what was interesting to him was Nazi gold. So he was able to get Nazi gold, and he had connections with Nazi people, and he was able to get the Nazi gold and start to kind of put it back into New York or Swiss bank accounts. He had operations with Nazi gold, and this Nazi gold was taken, a lot of it from the Jewish population that the Nazis had put into concentration camps and killed by the tune of 6 million of these people. Some prisoners from the Nazi concentration camps escaped, and they were coming up to the Americans in that area going, we escaped from this horrible, horrible death camp. And Allen Dulles was, let me make a report. Let me write that down in my notes. Let's see, escape from a death camp, and they're being all killed. Okay, now go sit over there. And he squelched it. He didn't report that he had previous knowledge of the death camps and squashed it because he was on the side of getting that Nazi gold. That's Allen Dulles in the OSS in World War II. And after that war, the OSS famously becomes the CIA. Now, the CIA needs a leader, head of the CIA, so who is it? Allen Dulles. Allen Dulles becomes the head of the CIA. Now, when Allen Dulles is head of the CIA, JFK in office, he's the president, and there's this Cuban Missile Crisis. There's Russian missiles in Cuba. Like, oh my God, we could have been World War III. Could have. The bells of St. Mary. World War III could have happened in the sense of U.S. versus USSR, and they could have put missiles there and blown up anywhere from Miami to like Washington, D.C. They had the short-range nuclear missiles, or missiles, whatever. JFK, we were lucky we had JFK during the Cuban Missile Crisis. His ace in the hole was he had missiles in Turkey. So when Gorbachev was saying, "We will bury you," meaning the USA, and JFK's like, well, turn around, look over there. We got missiles already in Turkey, and you'll be next, like that. And so Kennedy was able to face off Khrushchev, who said, "We will bury you." And Kennedy said, "Oh yeah, well, it's a turkey shoot, and I got missiles in Turkey." Notice the Thanksgiving theme? See what I did there? So anyways, he was able to negotiate out of the Cuban Missile Crisis with our Turkey missiles. Poor turkeys. God dang. I told you I was going to be irreverent. But this is 60 years ago, more than that. All this activity in Cuba connected to the USSR, going to back up this Castro guy. Now, Castro was going to be assassinated by the CIA with Operation Mongoose. Yes, Operation Mongoose. Operation Mongoose was weird little ways to knock off Castro, including exploding cigars, Operation Mongoose, I don't know, poisoned chocolate, and all kinds of dumb little spy versus spy stuff. It didn't work. So they had this Bay of Pigs plan by Allen Dulles from the CIA. So he was going to have the people in Cuba rise against Castro, and so he collects some people to go and invade in this Bay of Pigs, this little area. So they go to the bay, and they're invading with this small group, with the promise of, we'll have air support from the USA, which would have meant Kennedy would have had to approve air support, which he wasn't told about, and it would mean that USA took action against Cuba, which would give Russia an excuse to fire off missiles. This is stupid. Well, anyways, it was a big fiasco. When it happened, the Bay of Pigs happened. They called for air support, and JFK's like, are you crazy? No. So he did not supply air support. And the people on the ground, which included some Marines, I believe, they were killed in a sort of massacre because it didn't take off the ground. It was just like a small skirmish, and they were squashed. So the Bay of Pigs was a disaster, and they got killed. And it's kind of like Benghazi back then. But so aftermath, JFK looked very bad. The CIA, Allen Dulles, was just made Kennedy look like a doofus. And there's Khrushchev he was dealing with. Just, we will bury you, just, a little while. And so what Kennedy did was, look, Allen, Mr. Director of the CIA, new guy, and he's like, look, we're going to, when he became president, he fires him, basically. He fires Allen Dulles. He's no longer part of the CIA. And he's forbidden to do any espionage activity whatsoever. So they take Allen Dulles, they fire him, they take him out of the picture. This is Kennedy, and his administration does that. Allen Dulles retreats to his brownstone apartment, sort of Boston East Coast area. He lived over there. And through his apartment, he was continuing espionage operations. Now, how does Mongoose Max, the channel, know about this with all this Operation Mongoose stuff? This is this other book, and it's called The Devil's Chessboard, all about Allen Dulles. I read about 2/3 of this book, and then I had to give it away. It was this man. Go find this book. You'll see Allen Dulles. And yeah, the one with the airport in New York named after him, Dulles Airport. I don't know if it's Dulles or Dulles pronunciation, but that airport named after Allen Dulles. Allen Dulles was simply freaking evil. This guy was bad. So anyways, he was bad also as a spy. So when he's operating out of his East Coast brownstone apartment, I think it's kind of in the Bostonish area, he is not very good at it. So The actual CIA is keeping tabs on Alan Dulles, making sure he doesn't do espionage activity. So they're watching him, and it's easy to watch. See, just watch his apartment, and people go in and people go out, and it's just obvious as can be. Well, some of the people going in and out of Alan Dulles' apartment were operatives of Castro. The regime before Castro had this killer man. It was like a thug, the right-hand thug of the guy before Castro. Now, this guy is going into Alan Dulles' apartment and coming out of Alan Dulles' apartment after a big 40-minute meeting. And only weeks after that, JFK is gone. So, does Alan Dulles have part of the plan to kill Kennedy? I say yes. Alan Dulles. Did he fire the shot? He was CIA. You have this connection to CIA and the guy that wanted to prove himself. I'll kill him. And to prove himself. And there's that guy. Could have been another shooter in Dealey Plaza off the grassy knoll. Now, I didn't believe this grassy knoll thing for the longest time because you look at Oswald up in the 6th floor shooting out the window. Can he pull off 3 shots with a bolt-action old Italian bolt-action rifle, 3 shots in 5.6 seconds? He's not able to do it. Yeah, he is. People have been able to do that. It's doable. Bolt action, 5.6 seconds, 3 shots. Yeah. Moving target, yeah, I don't know. But they're able to do that with accuracy. So that's doable. 3 shots from the book depository building. Well, it's on the recording. Maybe there's extra shots. There's witnesses saying they got from the grassy knoll. Well, I thought, this grassy knoll thing, there's this big cement deal, and it echoes. It's an echo chamber. So, shot up here, shot over here, pang! And over there, it can echo. So the sound comes over here. A lot of witnesses say the sound comes from the grassy knoll, when it was just an echo, and it's a lot of confusion. So that's possible too. So I wasn't sold on the grassy knoll. Or the guy from the manhole cover. No. So anyhow, there was even this other theory I'll add into this one, that after the first shot from Oswald, which I guess missed, there was a panic and confusion. The presidential motorcade steps on the gas, going forward. And the CIA guy in the car behind him stands up to, with his gun, his rifle, I don't know what he had, but he stands up, and as the presidential motorcade goes forward, he falls backward and accidentally shoots JFK in the back of the head. I was amazed. I heard that's a theory I heard in Texas. And I don't know, but it's amazing thought. I mean, possibility, but no real evidence. The fatal shot from Oswald, but what about the grassy knoll? If there was someone on the grassy knoll, right? Sam Holland, witnesses, they went down there. So we have the definitely the grassy knoll. There was definitely a witness, Sam Holland, seeing the puff of smoke over that fence. But did that shot, kill JFK? It might have been simultaneous shot. But Oswald, sum up, the bullet from Oswald killed Kennedy. So, yeah, in that sense, there was a lone gunman, Oswald. Now, the conspiracy... Yeah, you got the CIA with Alan Dulles after the Bay of Pigs and disbanded the CIA practically. LBJ and the Warhawks with the industrial military complex. And LBJ was vice president, so he'd been next to take over and reverse Kennedy's stuff. The mob, There's not really any good evidence about that, but Jack Ruby doesn't help, with that snuffing out the main shooter guy. So the conspiracy, though, with a being very beloved president, and he was a very good president, he could have been, who knows what he could have been, So there's a big myth built up because you never know what JFK could have done after that time. So, but was there a conspiracy? There's a lot of enemies, definitely. And Khrushchev, right after the Cold War, a bunch of enemies. So obviously there was a lot of conspiring to murder Kennedy. So conspiracy, yes. And the Warren Report, it was pushing it to say the lone gunman, and kind of in a sense it was right, but it also squashed a lot of information that was connections to the CIA, possibly FBI and all that. Alan Dulles. And here's the thing about Alan Dulles. The Warren Commission, 800 pages, comes out. Warren was a Supreme Court justice, but Alan Dulles was on the Warren Commission. So Alan Dulles could have been suppressing all that other stuff, like, let's not talk about that's too complicated. We don't want the American public to, have bad feelings about the U.S. government. So the U.S. government did squash a lot of stuff. And even when they released the Kennedy papers not too long ago, it's all redacted. So the U.S. government didn't want the people to know a lot of stuff. They wanted them to be happy with the lone gunman theory, which in part is true. But the conspiracy did happen. And if there wasn't extra gunman would have been killed by Oswald? Yeah, I think Oswald pulled it off. And they didn't need the backup gunman, but I think there was a turkey shoot, backup gunman. He probably pulled off a shot. It might have missed from the side. He could have missed too. Because there's other people that had this ricochet. There's a lot of moving parts. But yeah, there was a conspiracy to kill him. And the lone gunman did pull it off. But it just says, it's just as important today as it was back then. Even maybe more. It's related to current events. We have to have the people in office responsible. If they're doing crime, they got to do the time. People in office. It's not the office. It's not the government. It's the people in the office. And they have to be held accountable. And truth and reality must be shown and known. So I know I'm probably going to be a lot of... This is just my... 7:21 a.m. Okay, thanks. And so there it is. I'm sure there might be a lot of comments. Maybe I'm not even going to watch this. Sorry, it was like a really long history thing. But had to have been done. Who shot JFK? Oswald. The Warren Report stifled some stuff. But look up LBJ in the... A Texan looks at Lyndon. Look up Alan Dulles in The Devil's Chessboard, and you will be amazed at the monsters behind the scenes. So anyways, have a happy Turkey Day. Aloha. Have a good day. Aloha to you. And now that you know who shot JFK, everything's gonna be okay and sunny and shiny and all that good stuff. Aloha.